Friends, on the last video we have finished our design, and in this video we are gonna start writing code. And also, before I forgot, I just have the user text right here. This is the input, the text input. By default it has this text, so let's go ahead and remove it. We do not want any default text shows for the user because we want to start empty. Now if you want to do something more interested, you can, instead of showing it empty like so, we have something called the hint. It is the placeholder. So if I type enter something, okay, like so, it will show as a placeholder, not as a text. So the difference between the hint and the text, the hint, as soon as the user click on the text input, the hint will go, okay, will be deleted automatically, but the text, the user should delete it or manually. Make sense? So hint, it's like as a placeholder. So let's move on to finish our functionality. Once again, I want the user to enter something here. Click on the submit button and show his text like so. Now we need to open our Kotlin file. So jump over to the Java, then the first package right here, open main activity.kotlin like so, and we are going to start writing our code here inside this onCreate function. Now why in this function right here? The onCreate function is the first thing will get executed once our application is running. So that's why we need to write our code here. So just to make our to tell Android Studio, hey, I want you to run this code here, okay? And also the onCreate, it is the function that's responsible for attaching this layout like so. This is the activity layout with this Kotlin file. So these are connected together by this onCreate function like so, and it has this line right here where it is the connection line that connect between the activity.xml and the Kotlin file. So let's go ahead and do that. Now the first thing first, I want to deal with these views, right? I want to click on the button, I want to grab this text view and this edit text, right? In order for me to work with them, to deal with them, first of all, I need to fetch them, right? So we need to fetch them in some way. Now, fetching a views, it is really straightforward. What you can do, you can directly type something like this. Type the ID of the view. It will work just fine. So if I type here on the my activity, if I type submit, which is the ID for my button, now I have it here. So this is referring to the button like so. But then I can do whatever I want. For example, I can assign a click listener for it. So once the user click on it, I can notify myself and so on. But I think this is not a really best practice when you start with Android Studio. I'm gonna show you a better way now, even if it's the syntax is a bit longer, but that will make a lot of sense later on. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna create a variable. Let's call it submit, and it is equal to something that it's going to grab the view from here, from the activity.xml, and store it in the submit variable. And this is something called find the view by ID. Find the view by ID, it is a pre-built function by Android Studio, and it is allow us to grab any view from the XML file and store it in a variable like so. And here it is telling us to specify two things. The first one, between this greater than and smaller than sign, here we need to specify the type of the view that we want to grab. In my case, I want to grab a button, okay? The second thing that we need to specify between these two parentheses, it is the ID for the button. And we cannot type submit like so. This is not gonna work. We need to tell Android Studio to go from R, which is the resources, the whole resources right here, dot ID. I want to access the IDs for my project. Then exactly I want to access the submit ID like so. So we are starting from the top all the way to the ID like so that we want. So this submit variable now, it is storing or holding the button using this function right here. So very simple. Now our task, your task, it is to bring these two views, the text view and the user input, and store them in two variables. Pause the video now and start to make a solution. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you my solution in a second. Solution, I'm gonna create a variable. Let's call it user input should equal to the find view by ID method. Then here we want to specify an edit text because we want to grab an edit text. And once again, I know that here it's called plain text, but this is an edit text. Make sense? And here I'm going to specify an ID, type r.id. We call it user text if you remember that. Now I'm going to create a variable. Let's call it show text equal to the find view by ID method. Here we want to specify a text view because we want to grab a text view from here, and here I'm going to specify an ID r.id.show text like so. So now we have fetched all the views that we have here inside our layout, and now we are free to work with them as we want. So once again, our task is that once the user click on the submit, we are gonna take whatever been entered and show it right here. So the first thing first, we need to declare a click for this button. And to do so, here we have the button. I'm just gonna type submit dot. That means I wanna do something on this button. This is what the dot mean. And in this case, I wanna set on click listener. The set on click listener, it is going to allow us to write code between these two brackets, and this code here will run after we click on the submit button. Make sense? Now what we want to do here, the show text like so. Now here what I want to do, I want to grab the user input text and show it right here. Make sense? And to do so, I'm going to create a variable. I'm just gonna call it text should equal to the user input field. This will grab the whole input. I do not want the whole input. I just want the text inside it. So I'm just gonna type dot text, and this will grab the text from the user field or the user input and store this in this variable right here. And the last thing I want to do, once the user click on this submit button, I want to get the show text. This will grab the text view dot text. I want to assign a text to it, and this will equal to the text that we have it here, this variable. Make sense? So I'm going to explain everything in a second. We have fetched all the views right here. Here we have grabbed the text from the text field, from the user input. Make sense? And stored in a variable called text. After that, we have declared an on-click listener, or a function here, or it's an on-click listener. It is just a place that allow us to write some code that will run once the user click on this button right here. And the only thing that we want to do, we want to grab the text view, which is the text view that we have right here, the show text. Dot text, it's mean the hey, I want to set a text on you. Okay, and this text will be equal to the text that comes from this variable right here. Of course, we can change the names. For example, here, let's call it, for example, text to show. Okay, like so. It's much clearer for us. And here, I'm just gonna change it to be text to show, like so. So this is much clearer. So this is the text that we are going to show, and this is the code for this is the field. Make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. This will do exactly what we want. This is the task that we have finished successfully. And in the next video, we are going to run our application on a real Android device, and also I will show you how to set up your emulator. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one.